You didn't expect that these things were created with CGI. In Season 1, when player 067 is crawling through the ventilation tunnel to find out what the next game will be, a mouse on her shoulder scares her. However, this mouse didn't exist. It was added in post-production. During filming, the actors had to react on the hand in the blue gloves that showed the spot where the mouse will be located. During the red light green light game, a bee lands on player 196's neck, causing panic and contributing to many deaths. This bee was also added in post-production and wasn't really there during filming process. The pink corridors that soldiers and players use to move around are actually much smaller. Additional floors and heights were added in post-production to create depth and make the space look larger. But what most viewers did not expect to find out that the iconic piggy bank hanging in the player's room doesn't exist. It's a product of CGI creation. The actors always pretend to look at it hanging above them. The same goes for the large screen in the player's room. It was always a blue screen during filming, and the display was digitally adjusted in post-production for different scenes according to the storyline. Comment below which of these CGI moments surprised you the most, and let's move forward inside the game. Recall the view of the mysterious island from the top when during red light green light game the huge gates open, revealing the playground. These gates are real and were specially inserted into the island ground to look realistic. Just kidding. Of course, these gates were created with CGI technologies, and even though there's a big difference in the quality of the gates between Season 1 and Season 2, you can't deny the wow effect this scene creates. To add the gates, post-editors had to remove extra objects on the surface of the island, add 3D animation for the gates, and then adjust colors and textures so they seamlessly blend into the island environment. And did you pay attention to the island itself? Many may be surprised, but the island is real and you can easily visit it. This is Seonggapdo Island, located in South Korea. Yet, even though the place is real, the island's appearance in different scenes was slightly adjusted with CGI to make it more dramatic. Based on the show, the reason this island was used for the Squid Game location is that it is surrounded by hundreds of other islands, making it difficult to locate. Recall how many islands Junho and Captain Park visited over 2 years while searching for the correct one. The endless underground tunnels and rooms perfectly hide all Squid Game events from accidental visitors. However, it's hard to believe that all this infrastructure was created specifically for the game. Most likely, the island was previously a military base, which built a system of underground tunnels, caves, and rooms that were later repurposed for Squid Game. Even though we have no official confirmation in the show about how Squid Game was originally created, we can expect to see more of this background in the upcoming season. But be sure to share your version of the Deadly Games island background in the comments. You may know that most of the games showcased in Squid Game Season 1 and Season 2 were built in full size, with months spent on every detail. So, the way we see them on screen is exactly how the actors experienced them in real life. However, some games simply couldn't be created without using additional visual effects. One such game is Red Light Green Light. Take a look at the doll. While many might think it was added in post-production, the doll is actually real, along with its size and features. Meeting this doll was actually one of the biggest emotional moments for the Squid Game cast, as shared in interviews. But if you had stood in the playground during filming, what you wouldn't have seen were the colorful painted giant walls that surrounded the playground. These were created using CGI technology. On set, the actors were surrounded by the same impressively tall yet blue walls, which made it easier to replace them in post-production with the detailed environment we see in the show. And did you know that we only ever see one specific side of this playground? The left side of the doll is always in focus, while the right side is hidden. In fact, this side didn't even have static blue walls during the filming process. Instead, were used the blue screens that could be easily moved around the set when actors were filmed with the background on this side. Leave your comment, why do you think this side was left without a blue wall? Not surprisingly, similar blue walls surround the players Gi-hoon and Sang-woo during the final Squid Game, as this scene was filmed in the same location as the red light green light game. Now, let's go back to Season 1 and the tug-of-war game. What may surprise many viewers, that the impressive high platforms were actually real. The moment when Gi-hoon's team is almost falling from the platform was filmed practically, and there was a real height beneath the actors. Other scenes were shot at a lower height, with blue screens in the background allowing post-editors to create the deep dark environment of the room. The effectiveness of CGI is particularly noticeable in scenes where players are walking. If you focus on their hair, the volume suddenly pops up when they step away from the black background. And do you recall the digital floor in the management room, where all players' photos are displayed? Even though the floor itself is real, the photos we see were added using visual effects. During filming, Frontman was just walking on a glass floor without seeing any photos of the players under his feet. And you might notice that the photos the players take in the pink room do not match the photos we see on the banners. On the banners, all players are smiling and happy, but during the game, their final pictures, which will appear on the floor screen, display serious and sad expressions. Why is there such a difference? All because the photos inside the game reflect the mood of the situation and the show's storyline, while the banner photos were created for promotional purposes to introduce viewers to the new characters in the upcoming season. Interestingly, there is only one character who keeps the same serious face, Gi-hoon. Both in the show and on the banner, his expression remains unchanged. And did you notice that in Season 2, there isn't a single scene where Gi-hoon smiles? Share in the comments the number of your favorite players in Squid Game Season 1 and Season 2. But let's come back to CGI and take a look on another scene where you wouldn't expect using additional visual effects. It was the room where the pink soldiers prepare the players for the game. Even though there seemed to be no need for CGI here, the number of players and soldiers was actually multiplied from a small group. This was done to fill the space and emphasize how many people were involved in the game, both players and soldiers. The next game also couldn't be done without CGI, even if in small amounts. The glass bridge game that we see on screen is almost the original version, considering that even the height we see existed on the filming set, though not on such a massive scale. Even the effect of the exploding glass was created practically and shown as it was in the final version of the scene. The blue-colored walls were used specifically to create a greater sense of height and environment. Additionally, the slow-motion turn was shot separately against blue screens and then slowed down significantly for dramatic impact. CGI effects are often hidden in scenes where we don't expect them. One such scene is the VIP arrival scene in Season 1. When we see a helicopter standing behind the VIPs, it looks real, but it was actually added with CGI too. Even though CGI now plays a huge role in filmmaking, we can notice that the majority of scenes in Squid Game Season 1 and Season 2 were filmed naturally. However, this won't continue in Season 3, as recent information reveals that a huge portion of the budget was invested specifically in visual effects. In all recent interviews, Squid Game director Wang Dong-hyuk has stated that Season 3 will shock viewers with its emotional intensity. In previous videos, we analyzed the potential ending for Season 3 and may predict that a large amount of CGI effects will likely be used to showcase the island in flames. Think back to Season 1, when police officer Wang Junho managed to reach the island while searching for his missing brother. During his time inside, he discovered the hidden underground tunnels used by the pink soldiers. One of these tunnels leads from the frontman's room to an underground cave, where VIPs could use scuba gear to escape the island. But this tunnel was not just built for escaping, it was also designed for destruction. Throughout the tunnel, bombs were placed as a fail-safe in case the VIPs needed to evacuate, allowing them to blow up the island and bury everything related to the Squid Game. The bombs, which were subtly emphasized in Season 1, and the director's comments strongly suggest that the island will be destroyed. But the real question is, will the explosion happen before or after the surviving players escape? And who will be the one to detonate the bombs and destroy everything? Can't wait to read all your versions in the comments below.